Good day, my name is Eman Kepo of Team Casas, and I'll be presenting the proposed entity of our strategic financial plan. Let me introduce to you our entity, which is Cargohaus Incorporated. Formerly known as U-Warehouse Incorporated, it is one of the pioneers of public customs bonded warehousing and cargo handling services. So what are these types of business? First, public customs bonded warehousing. It is authorized to store goods on a specified period of time under the customs control, meaning that the administrator or warehouse keeper can make the premises available to anyone who wants to store goods under the customs control. And a cargo handling services pertains to loading, unloading, or packing, unpacking of cargoes, and includes cargo handling services that provided by Freight. Cargohaus has a whole range of services to offer to its valued customers. One is an advanced warehouse management system that is directly linked to its airline partners, as well as the Bureau of Customs, that makes the processes efficient and effective. Second is an online tracking system that assures the customers of their cargoes visibility anytime and anywhere. An online billing estimation system and a facility that offers a complete line of services for all kinds of cargoes. The general purpose of the entity. The entity is primarily engaged in the business of public and private warehousing and all business necessarily or implied or thereto, and to further carry on the business of the general warehousing on all its several branches to operate and maintain all or any means or conveyance of transportation to and from storage by land, by air, or by water of any and all products, merchandise, or manufactured articles. It was established and incorporated on October 11, 1988, and was designated as Customs Bonded Warehouse on April 1, 1992. The size of the entity, it is a large corporation. It has an original capitalization amounting to 150 million, and its current net worth is 297.1 million. Its affiliations includes Air Freight 2100 Incorporated, U-Freight Philippines, Linahim Corporate, Nagemalik, Magnawa and Associates Customs Broker, and LGC Logistics Incorporated. It is located on ground floor Cargohaus building, Naiya Complex, Barangay Bitañez, Parañaque City. Let's now proceed to the statement of the problem. But first, let's tackle specific problem. Without further ado, let's go with specific problem number 1. So the specific problem number 1, it takes too long to collect their accounts receivables. So before I interpret through ratios and other analyses, let me first tell you about the basics of the fundamentals in which the researchers have found through under their annual report. So we have looked out into 3 issues of the entity. We named it policy, partnership, and guts. Let's go first with number 1, which is policy. So why did we say this? We found in note 5 of the Notes to Financial FS of Cargohaus that it is stated that company settled their receivables to a 30 to 120 days or terms. But it seems that the entity does not follow this policy. Later on you will know why. Second, partnership. According to its note 14, which refers to the related party transaction, it is stated that the company believes that their creditors will pay their receivables, and their receivables is considered not impaired. Also, it is stated in note 14 that their notes receivable is collectible and is in good condition. But as you can see in the receivable turnover in days, the current year's average collection period takes 1,692 days for them to turn their receivables into cash. So we go back to the policy, they did not follow the 30 to 120 day policy. Why did this happen? It is because the entity believes that by extending credit, they build a strong relationship with their related parties. That is why in turn, the receivable turnover in days or average collection period reached a staggering 1,692 days, almost 4 years. Let's now go to the common size analysis. As you can see in the figure, the major components of the total current assets of the entity is the trade and other receivables, and they have few cash on hand. That is why it takes too long to collect their accounts receivable. It is because they have a lot of receivables but few cash on hand. Let's proceed to the specific problem number 2, which is the entity has greater liability compared to its cash. Okay, so let's go back with the fundamentals that I have discussed before and relate it to the problem number 2. Specific problem number 2. Okay, number 1, policy. So the entity does not follow the term of 30 to 120 day settlement of the receivables, which in turn, in cash ratio, that the cash is very low because most of the company's cash is in the receivables. Second, in the partnership, since they build strong relationship with the related parties, they extend the credit, which in turn, they do not collect receivables. Again, that will affect the cash. They have very low cash on hand. And number 3, which is guts, since the collection management of the Cargohaus do not have the guts to collect the receivables, again, in turn, increases the receivables over the years and left them with few cash. Okay, so now let's proceed to the ratio analysis. Looking at the difference with the amount of the cash and the cash equivalents of the entity compared to its current liabilities, you can see that their cash cannot suffice its current liabilities. What if the creditors demand payments on its current liabilities? They cannot fund these short-term liabilities. Their cash ratio is 0.06, which is unfavorable. Let's now go to a common size analysis. As you can see here, the cash percentage is 2.01% compared to its total current liabilities of 50.12%. That is why the entity has greater liability compared to its cash. Next. We will now go with the specific problem number 3. The entity is illiquid. So first, let's go with the current ratio. As you can see here, the current asset of the company is sufficient to finance the current liabilities, but there is nothing few left with the current assets. So the current ratio resulted in 1.05, which is unfavorable. The remaining current asset is not enough to suffice or finance the other operations of the business. Have you remembered the 3 types of cash flows? They are classified as operating, financing, and investing activities. We are now focusing at operating activities. So why am I showing you these figures? Current assets, current liabilities, and total revenues. First, in an operating activities of an entity, it discusses the short-term capitals. That is the current asset and current liabilities. In the total revenues, in the normal course of business or operations, entities tends to use this revenue to earn profit. So the profit or net income will then be converted to balance sheet, and that is the equity. So in relevance, the components of the revenue can be a part of the total current assets. As you can see here, most of the revenues are in the total current asset. The revenue is 376 million and the total current asset is 361 million. But the problem is, as you can see in the current asset figure, most of the components of total current asset is under the trade and other receivables. And the entity has a low cash. That is why the entity is illiquid. Okay. So for our SOP map, let's have a recall. So the specific problem number 1, it takes too long to collect their accounts receivable, and here are the cause of the cost. Second specific problem, the entity has greater liability compared to its cash, and these are the cause of the cost. Third specific problem, the company is illiquid, and here are the cause of the cost. Did you notice something? There is a similarities of the cost to each of the specific problem, which is the three fundamental analysis that we come up before, namely the policy, partnership, and guts. These specific problems are interconnected with one another, which leads to the main cause and main problem of the entity. That is, the entity is facing poor collection management. And lastly, for our break-even analysis, as you can see here, the revenue exceeds the target break-even revenue of the company. This means that the entity does not have a problem with its revenue. That is all. Thank you.